My goal in this video is to build the ultimate K-Series transmission on a budget, the budget being $5,000. Over the last several months, I have put hundreds and hundreds of hours into building my dream Honda NSX. This car is so close to being ready to go back together with its fresh paint job, its new twin turbo setup, the refreshed rear cradle, the fully built engine, and the transmission. Now, like all the builds do, this one has escalated a little bit more than I had expected and had anticipated. So before we go ahead and start assembling the car, there's one very important thing that we need to do, and that is tear apart our transmission and install an upgraded gear set that is rated for way more power. I'm expecting this car to make at least, on the bottom end, 700 horsepower to the rear wheels. The turbo kit we had done is good for well more than 1,000 horsepower. The engine is good for tons of horsepower. Our transmission, however, as of right now, is 100% stock. It does look nice because I did go through, re-cerakote the cases, put all new zinc hardware on it, but internally, she is nearly 100% factory. The last thing I want to do is install the power plant, install the turbo kit, tune the car, make a lot of power, and then break the transmission. I would rather just take care of it now, build it now, so we don't have to worry about it in the future. Now that is where these two packages come into play. We have a gear set and some more gears and some more stuff to beef up the transmission. There are so many different options nowadays when it comes to choices of parts for building a transmission. Straight cut versus helical, you have dog engagement versus synchro. There's different types of synchros themselves, different types of coatings, different types of differentials. I'm pretty excited with what I pieced together for the NSX transmission. In this first package here, we have a straight cut synchro first and second gear set. Let's open up the second box. So over here we have the straight cut first and second. Here we have a helical 3/4. So the difference is the way the gears are cut. These are exactly what it sounds like. Straight cut, straight teeth. These are angled. They're cut helical. Now the straight cuts are stronger. They're rated for more horsepower. The downside is, maybe an upside, only downside would be the noise that these make. You guys have heard my Type R. That's a full straight cut set. You've heard the Evo 8. The sequential has a full straight cut gear set. So we're gonna have a straight 1-2, hold a lot of power. It's gonna be a little bit noisy. Helical 3-4-5 for nice, just quiet cruising. I think this is gonna be the perfect combo for the NSX. Now this here is called a gear cuff. So this goes in place of the 6th gear. I don't need a 6th gear in this build, and I would rather have the transmission be stronger. So this just holds the input and output shafts together so they don't flex, they don't move, preventing it from shearing off teeth. We have one more little package. In the last package was the final drive. This is a helical 4.6 ratio final drive. Everything that you're seeing right here, all these parts and components are from FF Transmissions. FF is a bit newer of a company, and they just started doing the gear sets for Honda transmissions. Very excited to run these in the NSX, see how they perform, see how they hold up. I've ran PPG, I've ran BF gears, I've ran obviously the Quaife setup in the Evo 8. I've ran a ton of different gear sets, but I'm very excited to see how the FFs perform. They are significantly cheaper than, say, a PPG gear set, and if they hold up just as good, it's a win-win. You save a bunch of money and you still get to go fast. Now, if we're gonna go through all this work and hassle to install a very nice gear set into the car, into the transmission, we may as well just go ahead and do every single part of the transmission. We're also going to be installing a full set of carbon synchros from Synchrotech. So here's our 5 carbon synchros right here. All new OEM bearings and seals. If I'm gonna build this transmission, I'm gonna build it once, I'm gonna build it right. Unlike the first time, I guess I'm building it twice now. I don't want this transmission to ever have to come apart again in the future. So we're just doing everything. So to get all this in the transmission, of course the transmission needs to come back apart completely. Thankfully, I never did fill it with gear oil. There's gonna be a little bit from assembly, but this should go fairly simple. Let's get her unbolted from the engine, get that transmission up on the table, and get her torn completely down. Pulling down a transmission is very simple in comparison to pulling down an engine. First, we remove the shift selector and the cable mount, and then there's about 20 bolts, 8mm heads that hold the 2 cases together. Now, when I had this transmission apart a few months ago to Cerakote the cases, I did install a WaveTrack LSD at that time, but nothing else. With all of the hardware removed, we can now split the cases and get access to all the parts that we need to replace. If you've never seen the internals of a transmission, well, here it is. Input shaft, output shaft. There is the final drive gear that we're replacing right there. And pretty much all these other gears are being replaced with those. Now, to get the gears out, first we need to remove the reverse setup. The shaft, the gear, the fork, and then the rest of the stack can usually come out together. Finally, the differential comes out. So this here is the complete OEM transmission disassembled. We will be using the OEM 5th gear and some of the collars, and that's really about it. First up, let's go ahead and swap out the final drive gear on the diff. All we need to do is unbolt all of those bolts. This gear comes off and the new gear goes on. Look at the difference in teeth thickness, the FF gear versus the OEM gear. That is insane. All 10 of these bolts here are a left-hand thread, and the final torque on these go to 89 foot-pounds. I always like to mark the head of the bolt. In case later on we have an issue, we can see if it's because a bolt backed out. This assembly right here, the LSD with the final drive gear, that is ready to go. Next, we're gonna take both of these guys and press them apart. We need to get all of the gears off of the shafts. I used to way overcomplicate trying to press these stacks apart. Back in the day, I tried to go gear by gear. Now I just press the shaft out of the entire stack and we're done. Everything is now disassembled. This here is the output. This here is the input, gears 1 through 5. Now, basically what we're gonna do from here is we're gonna grab our new shaft, this guy here. Again, check out the difference in the teeth thickness, completely different. We're gonna grab first gear, which is this gear here. Set this aside, slide this on the shaft, build one stack, build the other stack, and then it's on to measuring. All right, this is where the party begins. Very crucial that everything goes on in the right order. I'm not the biggest K-series transmission expert in the world, but I know someone who is. So my buddy Brian came over and we got both of these stacks assembled in just a couple hours. Here's where it helps to have someone that's really smart with transmissions. You need to measure the tolerances on the input shaft, the output shaft, and on the diff. If those are out of spec, your transmission will not last whatsoever. We finally got everything measured out. Combined here are both stacks, input and output, with the FF 6th gear cuff installed. With this setup, you do need to run the 6-speed fork and also the 6-speed reverse fork. Here's the entire setup installed. This thing looks absolutely beautiful. Before I assemble, I do need to go ahead and re-disassemble and grind this right here. As you can see, it's hitting on that gear. Pretty much with any K-Series transmission build you do with upgraded gear sets, you have to grind this fork. Everything is clearanced out. This beautiful transmission is ready to be fully assembled. So let's apply the sealant, get this case on, get all the bolts on, and we'll be done. Using my favorite 3-bond sealant, I applied a thin bead around the whole entire transmission, and it was time to get this thing 100% wrapped up. That took a while, but the transmission is now 100% complete. All we need to do is verify that it spins and shifts throughout the gears. First, second, neutral, third, fourth, fifth, reverse. The transmission is finally 100% done. Now this was the holdup for making any more progress on the NSX. I had the gears here, but the different shift forks that we needed was a little bit delayed. Now the transmission is done and the entire power plant can finally go back in the fully painted NSX shell, and we can start making some good progress on that build. Also very excited to test out the new FF gear set. Again, I decided to go with a straight cut first and second, helical 3/4, helical final drive with a full set of carbon synchros. This should be a very beautiful transmission for the NSX build, and I'm excited. Now, if you want to pick up anything that we installed, I'll go ahead and link everything down below. Go check out the FF transmission parts. They're a bit more affordable than, say, PPG stuff, and I'm excited and curious to test them out and see how they perform, making lots of power.